Jeff is the name. West Side Jeff in for Chris Crock tonight and the rest of the week, and covering next week for Chris as he covers for Casey. Casey will be out vacationing with his what he calls his wife, Carrie Underwood. He swears he's married to Carrie. I have yet to meet her. When I'm hearing around the station and you see Casey in the hallways, you never see Carrie Underwood, but he says that's his wife. I'll be in next week also. Thanks for joining me. You know what? I come from a family. I was born and raised in Columbus, Ohio. I have 4 siblings. I'm the 5th child of 5. I'm the baby, and I was daddy's little boy. In fact, my mom didn't like me, and I tell people that, and they laugh. And I have to literally tell them she didn't like me. My oldest brother's name was Rick. She called me Rick all of my life. And I used to say, it's Jeff. In fact, when I proposed to my wife, who I've been married to now for 30 years, my mom called her, invited her out for lunch. They went to lunch. My mom spent 2.5 hours at lunch with her at a Bob Evans restaurant, and tried talking her out of marrying me, and said he's selfish, you could do better, and you don't want to marry him. And she continued to say yes, and we're still married. I'm daddy's little boy. Now, the other thing about me is I don't wear jewelry. I don't wear a watch. I don't have any jewelry. In fact, when we were getting married, I said to my wife at the time, she had went out and bought me a ring with some diamonds in it. And I'm like, no offense, I don't want to wear a ring. And it has nothing to do with anything other than I just don't wear jewelry. I don't have any jewelry in my life. Nothing that's emotional and important to me. So before I got married, it was about 8 months before I got married, my father unfortunately died. Again, daddy's little boy. And we're at the funeral. We're about ready to close the casket, paying our respects. Mom and the rest of the kids. The casket starts to close. And right before it closes, I stick my hand in and said, wait. And there was that moment that everybody went, uh-oh, is he going to go postal on us? And my mom looked at the funeral director and said, go ahead and open it. Opened it all the way. And she looked at me and said, yes. And I said, Mom, that's Dad's wedding band. Can I have that? I'm getting married in a couple months. And if I'm going to wear jewelry, I want to wear my father's wedding band. It wasn't worth anything. I don't know what it's worth. Hell, it could have been a Cracker Jack ring. I don't know what it is. And she said, does anybody object to that? And all the kids said no. And she said, take it off and give it to him. So they said, okay, you guys excuse yourselves, we'll get it. And I said, no, I'm not leaving. I want to watch you take it off. They took it off. They handed it to me. I said to my wife, soon to be my fiance at that time, now my wife, and said to her, I'm not a big ring guy, but I want to wear this one. I understand you want me to wear a ring to show that I'm your husband and prove our love to each other and the commitment and all. I will wear a ring to honor that. But I want it to be my dad's wedding ring. And I almost never take it off. It's on my left ring finger, and it has such an emotional connection to me. When I look at it, I tear up. I'm tearing up now about it because I'm daddy's little boy. I'm wearing my father's ring. For 40-some years, my dad wore this ring that my mom gave him back in I don't know what year it was, 40-something. It was my dad's. I saw it on my dad's hand all of my life. I saw him wearing it all my life. And now I have the honor of wearing it. It's an emotional connection. When I think of gifts, that's what I think about. It's not the money value. It's the value of the emotional connection that you will always tear up when you're around it. You think about the story behind it, not because of the value of it, but because of what it represents. So a couple weeks ago, my oldest daughter, Danielle, who's 28, came in and announced she's pregnant. It's her first child, her and Nick, her husband. It was a wonderful, joyous time, and I got all teary-eyed about that. I found out because I'm an avid golfer. She bought a little onesie that said Grandpa's little caddy, put it in a bag and gave it to me and said, this is I picked up a golf shirt for you somewhere. It's a special golf shirt. I pulled it out and I immediately had tears in my eyes. What I would like to do, and I'm looking for your advice, I'm looking for your thoughts, I'm looking for your opinion, I'm looking for some help. First-time grandparent. Boy, you talk about feeling old. Wait till somebody tells you you're going to be a grandparent. It's like, whoa, that's officially, I transition into old stage. I'd like to get her and maybe the baby, the family, something as a gift to commemorate their first child. The child will be born. Due date is June 26th, so the baby won't be born. We just found out yesterday, she called me, it's going to be a baby boy. Her husband is a avid, her husband is Nick. Nick's grandparents are fresh off the boat from Italy. Last name is DeFranco. They're going to name baby boy Vincenzo. So as I said to all their siblings, you're going to have my cousin Vinny. I'd like to get her something special, some kind of a gift. Do you have an idea for some kind of a gift I could give them for Christmas? Maybe it's an ornament for the tree. Maybe it's something else that they will always have and cherish. That when I'm dead and gone, 50 years from now, that my daughter Danielle, every Christmas or every whatever, she pulls out this gift and she tears up remembering that emotional connection and my love for her and my love for family and everything that I taught her about life, teaching her how to swim and being a parent, being tough but being loving. I want her to have that emotional connection. I'm sure many of you have gifts in your life, something in your life that represents family, that you always grab and you look at and reminds you of your family, a parent, a loved one. I'm looking for an idea that you have. My number is 800-288-9227, 800-288-WBAP. My name is Jeff. Let's talk to John from Oakland. John, thank you for calling. I need help. I need advice. I'm looking for an idea or two. What do you got?
Jeff, I got the perfect gift.
Tell me.
An old-fashioned music box.
Tell me more.
You know those old music boxes that have a cylinder and they have little points that point up from the cylinder, and when
Sure.
it rotates, yeah, get her one that has a Christmas tune.
That's a neat idea. Where I have to Google where you get one of those. Any tips?
I would Google. I gave one to a girl I was courting once, and she melted.
I like the concept, John, because Danielle can pull it out every Christmas, and I could see her. You know, she's mini me. Her husband calls her MJ for short, Mini Jeff. She really does. She used to say, "I'm not my dad," and she used to, the girls go through the "I hate dad" stage, but she has come back around, and she's my favorite, and I'm her favorite. She loves me, and she's mini me, and I want her to call that music box out, wind it up, play it, and have that emotional moment where she says, "That's my dad." That's a good idea.
She'll love it. She'll love it, and you might want to consider getting a music box that has a Christmas tune, maybe.
I like the Christmas tune idea because I love Christmas. I'm all about Christmas, and it's always been special in our household. In fact, every year she comes in town, we go out and go Christmas tree shopping for a live tree. She selects it, her and my youngest daughter, although she didn't do it this year. We go out, shop for a Christmas tree, chop it down, a real live tree, take it home and set it up. So thank you for the call and thank you for the tip. I'm making a note of these, and I'm going to I may buy a couple things. John, thanks for calling. How about Chris? Yeah, Merry Christmas to you. Chris from Bowie. Chris, I've never been up in Bowie, but I understand Bowie is I've heard about it. You got a world's largest Jim Bowie knife or Bowie knife up there, and you do some kind of event around that, right? Am I missing that? I've never been there.
Second Monday Trades Day, just like the first Monday Trades Day in Canton, big flea market. It's not that big. You can walk through ours in a half a day, but yeah, we got the second Monday Trades Day in Bowie, and the giant Bowie knife is the very first thing you see to the right after you go underneath the railroad overpass coming into town.
I've heard people tell me that. I've never seen it myself. It's one of those things on my list that got to get up there. You're, 50, 60 miles northwest of Dallas on the way to Wichita Falls or something like that?
Yes, sir. We're about an hour and 15 minutes from Dallas or Fort Worth. We're about 45 minutes from Denton, 45 minutes from Gainesville, 45 minutes from Wichita Falls. We're a dadgum geographical oddity.
Dadgum. I like that. Dadgum geographical oddity. You're 45 minutes from anywhere. I got to get up there sometime. You got a tip for me on a gift for For my daughter, for my grandchild?
I've actually got one for all three topics.
Love it.
And I'll be quick about them. Gift. I don't know if you're an artsy craftsy guy at all. I'm 52. My dad was a union carpenter. I grew up helping build houses. Build you a shadow box. You know what a shadow box is?
Yep.
About an inch deep. Build you a frame with a glass that'll slide open and closed. And go buy a couple Scrabble boxes. And take your Scrabble pieces and whatever Nick's last name is, spell the last name straight down the middle of the box, and then everybody else's name comes off of a letter of the last name, or Nick or your daughter, whatever, and give her all the extra pieces. As things progress in life, if she has more kids, she's able to take those Scrabble pieces and glue new names in. But if you build it for her, then it's something literally from you, and she can hang it on the wall, leave it there every day, or it can be something that she uses like an ornament. Do like a red felt in the back so that it's more of a Christmassy type thing. Or another little idea. I don't know if you've seen the street signs, but you can get in my mind, I think of Sherlock Holmes, the old lit street signs, so it would kind of be like a lamp, freestanding lamp, but you have street signs made, and you 45 them, so they're not all facing the same way, but you've got what's your daughter's name? Or it doesn't matter.
Danielle.
Okay, there you go. You've got Nick, Danielle, and Vince. Or whatever on the street signs, and then later on in life she can have whatever other street sign made for another kid, and you've got the lamp up top. But and you can do that again, Christmas themed, so that you can set it out once a year, and it'd be something that my crazy dad got me this damn street light.
Damn, Chris, you know what? You got me tearing up, and I'm losing it here. I love the idea of that shadow box and the Scrabble thing and making it because it's a special gift. That's, God, you just for the first time in my life on the radio, I'm speechless, and I'm not sure what to say other than thank you. That's a wow, what a wonderful gift. Chris, I want to hear what else you got to say, but I got to go wipe my eyes if you don't mind for a second. I got to hit a quick break on the other side of that. I want you to stick around. I want to ask Charlie, put you on hold. If you don't mind, stick around. I want to hear what else you got to say. I love that idea. I think it's a great idea to share. So if you can stick around, I want to hear what you have to say. I got to hit a break on the other side of this. We'll follow back up. I'm talking about Christmas gifts or gifting, and I don't know. Hang with me. Come back in about 3 minutes. It's Westside Jeff and for Chris Crock on News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM WBAP. All right. Had to wipe my eyes and blow my nose, that kind of stuff. Chris, you got me. Thank you for that comment on that. It's my name's Jeff. It's Westside Jeff. We're talking about. I found out I'm going to be a grandfather for the first time in my life. My oldest daughter, she's mini me, is going to have a baby in June, and I set up and said I'd like to look for some kind of a gift I can give her and baby for a Christmas that would be an emotional connection. And Chris had a great idea. I love the idea. Shadow box. You go by Scrabble letters, and you build out their family name and the names of Danielle and her husband Nick and the baby Vincenzo in the shadow box with some other mementos in there that we can always add to it, almost as a memory thing that when I'm dead and gone and long gone, she can display any time of the year and look at it and say, my dad made that and gave that to me. That's an emotional, that hit me, Chris. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. You had a couple other things to say, Chris. What else did you have?
All right. My take on the whole Albertsons Kroger deal. I think the FTC needs to keep their nose out of it. I've lived rural America all my life. I can't stand Walmart. And I don't think they need to stay out of it because I can't stand Walmart. I've just watched so many little establishments go to the wayside because of what Walmart is and what it stands for. And I believe that if Kroger and Albertsons could combine forces, Wonder Twin powers activate, and stomp out a little Walmart's territory, I think it'd be great. I think it would be a great
great American story, and keep them honest, and even more competition.
There you go. Exactly, competition. That's my FTC deal. Now then, my New York shooter. I don't believe it, and I'll tell you why. I agree with what your premise is. I think that is a very functional, very possible for happening. But in 52 years, I've watched our government snow job us with so many things. And I've learned to look behind what's put in front of us. And I think over the years, if there's enough digging done, and I'm not talking like a conspiracy theory, but at the same time a conspiracy theory, I think there'll be something going on either with the CEO's life itself, with the divorce processes, the kids, or something in the company that was fixing to happen, or something else of that nature, that this young man's troubled, storied health past and all, I think it's just a cover. I think our government has been real big about implanting people in people's lives and leading them towards doing things. And then when you see everything go down, well, what we saw wasn't even really what was going on. It might have been somebody, some other company that was wanting to buy out United Healthcare, and that killing wound up stopping the buyout, or all that.
I hear you, Chris.
I don't have a theory for that, but it's a shadow game, and we've been playing them for 150 years.
And to your point, there's more to the story than we know, and it could take time to find out, and hopefully we do.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Chris,
you are a great sometime.
You are a great American, and that was a great phone call. And I want you to call me anytime. You got some, and you touched me with that shadow box idea. Thank you, Chris.
By the way, I'm a 52-year-old grown man. I own a small trucking company. I'm a man's man. I hunt, I fish, I have grandkids, I raise, I play outside, and you had me crying going down the road with your dad's ring. Just wanted you to know it was a very that's a tough story to listen to. I lost my father 12 years ago. He died Leap Day, 2012. And
you think about him every day, and you're still emotionally connected, and you're daddy's little boy like I am, right, Chris?
I'm the baby of the family.
Attaboy, Chris. Thanks for listening. Thanks for calling. I appreciate the input. I got to hit the bottom of the hour news on the other side of it. I see Robert and Gary. We'll get to your calls. We have 2 open phone lines. I'd love to hear your story about what kind of a gift to get for Christmas for my first grandchild. That's what we're talking about. My name is Jeff. It's Westside Jeff. We'll talk about that on the other side of the news. Westside Jeff filling in for Chris Crock on News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM WBAP. 2 weeks ago, week and a half ago, my oldest daughter, Danielle, 28 years old, was in town and came by the house and said she knows I'm a golfer. She's mini me. In fact, her husband calls her MJ, Mini Jeff. My name is Jeff. It's Westside Jeff. She's so much like me. He calls her MJ. She used to get angry about it, but now she just relishes in it and is like, yep, I'm my dad. Daddy's girl. She gave me a bag, and in the bag, I opened it up. She said, got a golf shirt for you. I opened it up. I pulled out a shirt. It was a onesie that said Grandpa's favorite little caddy. She's pregnant. That was the surprise. That was the moment. And boy, did I all of a sudden go, wow, I'm going to be a grandfather. I never thought of my life. I never thought of myself as a grandpa, ever. And I was still trying to comprehend that I'm going to be a grandpa. She is mini me. And to commemorate that, I'd love to get her something special as a gift, her baby and her husband, that they will always have and hold on to as a memento for all their life, that whenever she looks at it, feels it, touches it, sees it, smells it, it reminds her of me. It reminds her of her dad. And when baby Vincenzo grows up to be a young man, that he can always remember Grandpa Jeff. I'm looking for tips, advice. What do you got? What is a great gift idea for something like that? We had a caller a moment ago during the news break. There's a guy called in, I think from Mansfield is what Garrett told me, or Charlie told me. He didn't want to go on the air, but he said, you know what you could do is on the date of the birth of the baby, go out and buy several different newspapers, big newspapers like the Dallas News, the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, USA Today, and hold on to them so the baby, when the baby gets older, can see a newspaper and see what happened on the day of their birth. It's ironic that that gentleman shared that story, because I did exactly that. On New Year's Eve of 1996, 12:30 in the morning, Danielle was born. 30 minutes earlier, it would have been December 30th, but she waited till 12:30 in the morning, so it was New Year's Eve she was born. My first child, we were in the hospital up in Ohio. It's where I was born and raised, Riverside Hospital. And finally, about 4 o'clock in the morning, I got in the car, drove home, and I couldn't sleep very well. And I was listening to talk radio on the way home. I'm Jeff. I worked in an FM radio station at the time on the business side. I never wanted to be an on-air guy and a talent and be talking on the radio. That wasn't my shtick. I'm just a regular guy. But I was listening to a guy that was doing talk on a talk station that I ended up working for up there years ago. His name was Steve Boom Boom Cannon, and he did slice of life stuff. And I decided to pick up the phone. I called him and said, "Hey, Steve, my name's Jeff." Said, "I'm in the radio, also a different station, different company," and so on and so on. "I'm calling on my way home. I just had my first child," and talked about the story. And I just had diarrhea of the mouth. I just had to tell somebody. It was 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the morning. I just had to tell somebody. I just had my first child, and the experience I went through, it was an emotional thing. Told the story about delivering the baby and cutting the umbilical cord and holding her for the first time and having her look up in my eyes and go, "Ah." And that first poop in my hands where the nurse said, "Ooh, let me change that." Those moments, and I had to share it, so I did. And we talked for about 10 minutes. Well, I went home. Somehow I fell asleep. I got up early in the morning, went back to the hospital. My mom happened to be there also. And we were talking, and she said, "I heard you on the radio last night." And I went, "Uh-oh." Uh-oh. And I'm thinking, what'd I say? And she said, "That was very sweet." And I said, "What were you doing listening?" She said, "Same thing you were. Couldn't sleep. I listened to the radio. I love talk radio. Listen to it. I heard you talking." And that was very, very well done. You did good. Proud moment. Proud mom. And that got me all teared up. Later that morning, a person from the local newspaper, Columbus Dispatch, that heard me talk on the radio, pulled a bunch of newspapers, dropped them off at the station, left them at the station I worked for, and I picked them up and still have those. That's a great gift idea. Thank you very much for that tip. 800-288-9227. What kind of a gift idea would you look at that would be a very special gift for a first grandchild before he's born? It's going to be a boy. And my daughter and her husband looking for something to give him that they can always remember dad or granddad. My name's Jeff. It's Westside Jeff. The number's 800-288-9227, 800-288-WBAP. Let me go real quick about a wedding story and hit up Robert from Fort Worth. Robert, you've been on hold for a while. Thank you for holding. You've got a great story about wedding story. Tell me.
Hey, no, it's you started the show off with talking about your dad and the at his funeral there with the ring, and it leads into a gift idea. But we had a similar situation with my aunt, my cousin Earl, when his mama passed away. At the funeral, he went up to her coffin and he managed to get about 3 gold teeth out of her before we figured out what he was doing, and ended up pawning them. Yeah, with one of those RCA receivers I'd given him. Those things were nice back then. It was those 5.1 Dolby Digital. It was a while ago. But the reason I tell you that is gold's always good. There's a reason that the ancients, The ancients always, worshipped it, or the kings and queens wore it. So if you do get them something, get them gold and make it 18 karat, 21 karat, spend the money. Looks nicer. It wears really well. You go up to 24, then it gets real soft. But 18 karat always makes a good gift, and something Gucci, Versace might not appreciate it now, but I bet when she's 15, 16 years old, she'll be like, "Thank you, Grandpa." So, yeah.
Well, it's going to be a boy, not a girl, but still, gold goes a long way, right? His name's going to be Vinny.
Yeah, Vincenzo DeFranco, right?
That's right. That's right. And some other Italian middle name too.
Hey, they were the working class of the '80s. Yeah. But as far as Chris out there at Bowie, he was talking about them Krogers and them Albertsons.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I'll take a Kroger and an Albertson over a Fiesta any day. Those things are like casinos, man. Where one of them Fiestas goes up, they're followed by crime, corruption, prostitution. So, Kroger, Albertsons any day of the week.
I agree with you. Thank you, Robert, for calling, and thank you for your stories. I appreciate it very much. Let's go to Gary in Burleson. Gary, thank you for calling. You're on with Westside Jeff on WBAP.
Hey, Jeff. Good evening. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for calling.
This is the first time I've ever called in anywhere, but I was just thinking about an idea, and I was like, man, I really need to pass this along. So my mom actually got my 9-year-old son, for his 9th birthday. He actually had a husky shepherd mix dog that he had for a short time, and she ended up running off, or someone picked her up. She was like the most beautiful-eyed husky German shepherd mix ever, great temperament, and she ended up running off, and he lost her, and he was heartbroken over it. So my mom actually, for his 9th birthday, I don't know if you've heard of them, I'm sure you have, and you've seen them, but she got pictures of him sleeping with that dog and different pictures of the dog, and she had a blanket made. It's a plush, like fleece blanket, real soft, huge blanket, and she gave it to him for his birthday. And really, what they can do, put photos on blankets nowadays, is something you can keep for. I mean, it was great. I was really surprised by how great the pictures came out. It was just really amazing.
Idea. That's a great idea. Any place in particular recommend, or just Google places?
I wish I could. She got it off Amazon, and I was really surprised. It was really relatively. It wasn't very expensive at all, and like the pictures turned out amazing. He still uses the blanket, lays with it, and sleeps with it. And it's just something to think about. You could have you, and whenever the baby's born, a picture of you and your wife and the baby, or you, her, and him and the baby, her husband and the baby. There's just so many options. You could put multiple pictures. It's just something like, really you could have that blanket forever when you're gone.
That's a great idea. You know what, Gary, when Danielle was born, she was, again, mini-me, daddy's little girl. And one of the most vivid memories of pictures I remember of her is I love washing my truck. I have always had an SUV. I was always go out in summertime, just wash it. It was just great to do and keep a clean vehicle. And it seemed like every time I take a big bucket of warm water with car wash fluid in there, and I'd get all sudsy, and I'd start washing it. And Danielle would be out there with her diaper on at the age of probably less than 18 months, right? Just barely to walk. She still wasn't talking. And she looked like Annie because she had those curls in her hair. And I kid you not, the very first time I saw it happen, I couldn't believe it. And then it continued every time I'd go wash my car, to the point that I'd say, honey, hold on to Danielle because she's going to do it again. Just a diaper on. She'd go over and get in the bucket of water. And I'd be on one side of the vehicle. I'd come around to get sudsy all over my sponge. I'd look in, and she's sitting down in the bucket of water with her diaper on. And we took pictures like that. That would be a great photo to put on a blanket and give to her. That's a great one. That's a great idea. I'm going to look that.
You can put so many different ideas. So many different pictures on them too. And I was really surprised when I saw the blanket. I was like, wow. And you could tell, it's really heartfelt. It's really something that takes thought. And nowadays I was shocked that you could actually do that.
That's a great idea. I'm going to look into that one too. Gary, I appreciate your call. Thank you very much. We're talking about stories or I'm going to be a grandfather for the first time. I just found out. I want to get something special, a gift to commemorate it, that my daughter, her husband, and the grandbaby is going to be Vincenzo in June, can hold on to the rest of their life and always remind them of Grandpa, remind them of Westside Jeff, that they can always have that moment of something to remind them of me 30, 40, 50 years ago when I'm dead and long gone. Just a great memory of me. I'd like to hear what you have to say. What would you do? What have you seen? What ideas you got? My name is Jeff. The phone number is 800-288-9227, 800-288-WBAP. It's Westside Jeff sitting in for Chris Crock tonight on News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM WBAP. Westside Jeff in for Chris Crock, talking about great ideas for a Christmas gift. And the reason being is my oldest daughter, 28 years old, Danielle, born in 1996 on New Year's Eve. Mini Me, as we call her, because she's little Jeff. In fact, her husband, Nick, calls her MJ. Literally calls her MJ. That's her initials. And it stands for Mini Jeff. She used to piss her off. Initially, just he did it to get under her skin, but now it's words of passion that she takes that as, you know what? Yeah, I'm just like my dad. I'm daddy's girl. Told me 2 weeks ago she's pregnant. Going to have a baby June 26th. I'd like to get them something special for gift for Christmas that they'll always remember Westside Jeff. Remember Jeff for Dad and Grandpa. Like a story like this. Grew up in Ohio, on the west side of Columbus. My dad was a plumber. In the house I grew up in, he went down to the basement. He put a shower in, built in a shower, not your standard plug-and-play shower. He built it out of cinder block and put a spigot in, a really nice shower. Put in a sink and then a toilet. And the toilet area where you sat, it was like up on a throne, and it was covered around the corners, the walls, but the walls didn't go up and down all the way. There was about a 12 or 18-inch gap at the very bottom that you could stick your hand through from one side to the other. And my dad, the plumber, sometimes just wanted to get away from life. Loved coffee. He'd make his coffee. He'd take black coffee. He'd put a bunch of milk in there. He'd put about 10 sugars. He'd stir it up. He'd go down. He'd sit on the toilet. He'd stay there for 15, 20 minutes. And when I was 5, 7 years old, I used to sneak down the basement, go around the corner, and I could get into an area right next to the room where he was in, stick my hand under the little wall, grab his coffee cup, drink some, and put it back. Because I wanted to be like my dad. I was daddy's little boy. So I used to drink his coffee. And I'm telling you, for the longest time, he had no clue. In fact, I didn't do it as a prank. I just did it because I wanted to be like my dad. Whatever my dad did, I wanted to be like him. So I'd drink his coffee. And I got to like coffee. I don't drink coffee anymore, but I did then because it was my dad. And so as a gift, somewhere around college time, he bought me a mug with my name on it, Jeff. And I still have it. And it reminds me of my dad, that my dad went out and took the time to buy a gift that we shared in a moment of coffee. It was a coffee mug with my name on it, and I still have it and cherish it because it came from my dad. And getting rid of it would be like getting rid of my dad. I'd like to get a gift like that for my daughter, my soon-to-be grandson, my daughter's husband, to always remind them of me. I'm looking for ideas, looking for tips. You got a story, you got a gift, hit me up across social media at Westside Jeff, or pick up the phone and call me like Sarah has from Fort Worth. Sarah, thanks for calling. You're on with Westside Jeff. Sarah, you there? I don't hear you, Sarah. I don't know if Sarah's there or not. Charlie, can you check the phone line? Maybe she's in a bad cell or we lost her. I'm not sure which. But I'd love to hear stories about gift ideas that my daughter and her husband and her soon-to-be son, my grandson, who will be born the end of June, will always remember Jeff for. Grandpa Jeff. Love to hear your stories. What tips do you have? I'd like to hear some stories of what I could get that will always remind them of me. We all in our life, we love our families, and we have special moments in our families that remind us of times in the past. And many times they're just the stupidest, silliest stories, like the one I just shared with you about going down the basement as quietly as I could, go around the corner, try to stay out of sight so my dad had no clue I was there, put my hand under a wall and grab his coffee mug and drink his coffee, because it was pretty good coffee loaded with sugar, as he was just sitting on the toilet for 15 or 20 minutes. And there were times I know that I drank his coffee and put the mug back, that he had no clue that I did it, and that he went to grab the coffee mug and he's like, wait a minute, there's a little less coffee in here than there was. What happened? Did I drink it? How'd I miss a sip or two? And finally he caught me one day, and after time he was like, I figured something was going on, but he didn't know what. And so he used that moment in time to get me a gift that didn't cost anything. But he found a mug with my name on it, and he etched his name on the bottom of it and gave it to me as a gift. I still have it. I don't drink coffee today, but I still have that mug, because that mug is my dad. And getting rid of it would be like getting rid of my dad. In fact, I don't put it in the dishwasher a lot. I don't use it a lot because I don't want it to break and lose it, because, again, it's a memento that reminds me of Dad. I'd love to hear any ideas you've got, something like that I could be a special emotional gift and get for my daughter, her husband, and soon-to-be grandson. Got to hit top of the hour news. On the other side of that, I want to continue with an update on the story today, what happened with United Healthcare, the killing of the United Healthcare CEO, and the arrest of Luigi Mangione and his movement back to New York from Altoona, and what's going on there. We'll talk about that next. Westside Jeff in for Chris Crock. Top of the hour news coming up. On the other side of that, we'll go back to United Health and talk about that story too. Westside Jeff in for Chris Crock on News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM WBAP.